Grandma Lucia's forgotten herbs. Dona Lucia moved the pans in the kitchen as if she were dancing. The smell of rosemary and basil filled the house, but today was not a day for feijoada or pasta. It was medicine day. Or better yet, to remember the medicines that no one else used. "Mom, what are you doing there?" asked Clara, coming in with a shopping bag. "I brought the milk and that syrup the doctor prescribed for your knee." "Ah, Clara, this syrup is good, but do you know what's better?" Dona Lucia lifted a dry twig between her fingers. "This here. St. Mary's weed. My grandmother used it for joint pain. It works like a charm." Clara frowned. "Mom, this is grass. You're not going to take that, right? It's not weeds, it's medicine." Dona Lucia laughed. "And I'm not the only one who remembers. There are a lot of plants out there that we forgot about. But I should use it again." Clara sighed and sat down in the rocking chair. "Okay, tell me then. What are these magical plants?" Dona Lucia immediately cheered up. "Ah, my daughter, there are so many. Let's start with the rue. You know that little plant in your neighbor's yard? People used it to ward off the evil eye and even for headaches. I remember. Aunt Malene always had a twig behind her ear." Clara laughed. "But isn't that belief? That may be so, but who has never had a cup of rue tea when they had a stomach ache?" Dona Lucia blinked. "And there's wormwood, that bitter herb that we see in the woods. My mother made tea for worms. Losna. Never heard of it." "So it is. And the boldo. Everyone knows this, but not everyone knows that it's not just for hangovers. In the past, people used it to cleanse the liver, for digestion, even for coughs." Clara took a notebook from the drawer. Okay. I'll write it down. But tell me one thing. Why did we stop using these plants?" Dona Lucia sighed. "Ah, my daughter. The pharmacy medicines arrived, and everyone thought they were better. Easier, faster. But sometimes, what's old is good too." Clara looked at the notebook and then at her mother. "So, do you think we should go back to using it? I'm not saying to give up today's medications, no. But how about we remember the things that worked?" Dona Lucia picked up another herb, this time a broad, green leaf. "Just look. This is plantain. My grandmother used to make poultices for wounds. Healed quickly." Clara wrote everything down, but still seemed suspicious. "And how do we know which one to use for what?" "Oh, that's easy." Dona Lucia took an old book, all yellowed, from a shelf. "My great-grandmother left this notebook here. There are recipes for everything. Guaco tea for coughs, aloe vera for burns, mint for nausea." Clara leafed through the pages, surprised. "Wow, Mom. This is a treasure." "So it is. And it's not just medicine. There are plants for seasoning, for perfume, even to repel mosquitoes." Dona Lucia pointed to an illustration of a purple flower. "This one is the marigold. My mother used to make ointment for dry skin." Clara closed the notebook and looked at her mother with a smile. "You know something? You're right. We really forgot a lot of good things." Dona Lucia smiled, proudly. "And the best thing is that these plants are there, in the backyard, in the woods, in the neighbor's garden. We just need to remember." Clara got up and went to the window. "So, how about we start a vegetable garden here in the backyard? Just with these old plants?" Dona Lucia clapped her hands. "I'll help. Let's plant rue, boldo, wormwood, plantain. Oh, and we can't miss lemon balm. Her little tea calms even the most agitated heart." Clara laughed. Okay. But first, teach me how to make that herb tea for your knees." Dona Lucia smiled, happy. "Now yes. Let's rescue what we forgot." And so, between laughter, notes and a good smell of herbs, mother and daughter began to bring back what time had left behind. It wasn't magic. It wasn't a miracle. Just remember that sometimes the simplest things are the ones that heal the most. Clara took an old notebook from the kitchen drawer. Yellowed pages, full of grandmother's scribbles. "Look, Mom. Grandma even wrote down the right moon to plant each one." Dona Lucia approached, her eyes shining. She said that rue likes the waning moon, so it doesn't grow too bitter. And the wormwood, new moon, to give strength to the plant. Clara laughed. Grandma was really a witch. No, it wasn't. Dona Lucia playfully patted her daughter's arm. It was wisdom, something that we lost in the midst of so much pharmacy medicine. In the backyard, the sun shone weakly through the clouds. Clara dug the first grave with a rusty shovel. Where do we start? For the rue. Dona Lucia handed over a small twig. Strong plant, can withstand even bad soil. And it keeps bad things away, they said. Clara carefully placed the seedling. Bad thing like a headache? Like envy, the evil eye. Dona Lucia made a quick gesture with her hand, as if she was scaring something away. Or just to make the yard prettier. Clara laughed again. Okay. But if this plant really is magical, I want a spell to pass the enum. Dona Lucia threw dirt on top of the sapling. Spells are study, girl. Rue only helps to clear the mind. They planted 3 more seedlings before lunch. Boldo, lemon balm, a mint plant that escaped from a neighbor's vase. Each one had a story. Boldo saved my father from a bad hangover, said Dona Lucia, pressing the earth around the plant. He drank too much at Aunt Maria's wedding and spent the whole night in the bathroom. The next day, Grandma made him strong tea and he got up like new. Clara grimaced. How disgusting. Nothing. It was love. Dona Lucia sighed. People knew how to take care of what they had. They didn't need a doctor for everything. The smell of herbs spread throughout the yard. Clara closed her eyes and took a deep breath. You know what's funny? We are planting things that everyone forgot. But they never really disappeared. Yeah. Dona Lucia wiped the sweat from her forehead with the back of her hand. They were just waiting for someone to remember. Clara looked at the small, fragile seedlings. What if we forget again? Dona Lucia held her daughter's face with both hands. Then we teach it to someone else. To not let it die. Clara smiled. Okay then. Let's teach. And so, amid laughter, dirt under their nails and the sweet smell of mint, they continued planting. It wasn't just a vegetable garden. It was a promise. That some things, even forgotten, never stop being important. Clara took a handful of dirt and let it drip between her fingers. Mom, what if someone asks what all this is for? Like, a doctor or a scientist? Dona Lucia laughed, pulling up a weed. Then we'll show you. You don't need to convince anyone. The plants speak for themselves. Clara frowned. But what if they say they have no proof? Proof. Dona Lucia pointed to the wormwood tree, with its silvery leaves. This one my grandmother used for stomach pain. Never failed. Isn't that proof? Clara bit her lip. Yes. But nowadays it's only valid if there's study, laboratory medicine. Dona Lucia stood up, wiping her hands on her apron. And who said that one cancels out the other? She took a sprig of rosemary and rubbed it between her fingers, releasing the strong smell. This one calms your head. The ancients knew. Scientists are just rediscovering it. Clara looked at the seedlings. So what are we doing, anyway? Keeping secrets. Dona Lucia blinked. Secrets that are not just ours. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky orange. Clara took a marigold seedling and placed it in the ground. What if we can't teach everyone? It is not necessary. Dona Lucia placed another seedling next to it. One person is enough. Then another. And one more. Until there are a lot of people who remember. Clara smiled. Like a chain. That. A chain of dirt-stained hands. They worked in silence for a while, until Clara stopped again. Mom, what if one day no one believes anymore? Dona Lucia sighed, but didn't stop planting. Then we plant stronger. Until the roots are so deep that no one can pull them out. Clara nodded, digging a small hole for a lemon balm seed. Okay then. Let's make deep roots. And so, between conversations and doubts, the garden grew. Not just the plants, but something bigger. Something that neither of them could quite explain. But deep down, they knew it was right. Clara wiped her forehead with the back of her hand, leaving a dirt stain on her face. The sun was already up, and the smell of wet earth filled the air. Mom, look, she pointed to a new sprout, almost hidden among the leaves. That's comfrey, right? Dona Lucia approached, her eyes shining. And yes, strong as iron. In the past, people used it to heal broken bones. Serious? Clara crouched down, lightly touching the rough leaves. And does it really work? It worked. Dona Lucia shrugged. But today everyone prefers pharmacy medicine. Clara frowned. But why? If it worked before, because it's easier. Dona Lucia took the hoe and began to loosen the earth around a rue plant. People forget that the cure is in the earth, not on the shelves. Clara remained quiet for a moment, observing her mother's hands, marked by time and work. What if we show them? Dona Lucia stopped and looked at her daughter. How? Like, we can make some seedlings and give them to the neighborhood. Or teach anyone who wants to learn. Dona Lucia smiled, but her eyes were a little sad. Not everyone will want it, daughter. There are people who think it's nonsense. But what about whoever wants it? Clara insisted. We can't keep it to ourselves. Dona Lucia sighed and shook her head, as if she had already thought about it 1,000 times. It's okay. Let's try. But slowly. One step at a time. Clara smiled, excited. Does it start today? It starts today. Dona Lucia took a handful of marigold seeds and placed them in her daughter's hand. Take these to Dona Marta, around the corner. She always asks about my plants. Clara ran to the gate, but stopped before leaving. Mom, what if she laughs at us? Dona Lucia laughed softly. Then we laughed together. And plant another seed. Clara nodded and ran away, her bare feet kicking up dust on the way. Dona Lucia watched, with her hands on her hips, until her daughter was out of sight. Let's see how far these roots reach, she muttered to herself, returning to work. And so, between seeds and hope, the garden began to spread. Not just in the backyard, but in the hands of those who still believed that the land had ancient secrets. And that, sometimes, all it took was one person to remind the world of that. Dona Marta was on the balcony, peeling potatoes, when Clara arrived panting. Miss, what is it? It looks like you saw a haunting. Clara held out her hand, the seeds glistening in the sun. My mother sent it. He said that you always ask about the plants. Dona Marta dropped the knife. He took the seeds, smelled them, ran his fingers over them. Calendula. I haven't seen these beauties for years. My grandmother used it for everything. Wound, stomachache, even to ward off the evil eye. Clara frowned. Evil eye? Yes, miss. Ancient people believed that some plants were protective. Not just the body, but the soul too. Clara looked at the floor. He thought of the laughter he could hear. What if no one else believes? Dona Marta smiled, her wrinkled eyes shining. So we planted in secret. Until people forget that they forgot. She got up, slowly. Come here. I'll show you something. He took Clara to the backyard. Among the weeds and broken pots, there was a little green corner. Just look. Clara bent down. He recognized some leaves. Rosemary? That. And this one is rue. My mother said it was to protect the house. Clara touched the leaves. They were rough, smelly. And does it work? Dona Marta laughed. I don't know. But it makes us feel stronger, right? Clara nodded. He took a twig of rue and put it in his pocket. Can I have some? Of course. But you don't tell anyone. Otherwise they'll say we are crazy. Clara laughed. He ran back to the house, the branch hitting his leg. On the way, she met João, the boy who always teased her. What is that there? Smelling weeds. Clara hid the branch behind her back. Nothing, no. John narrowed his eyes. Are you hiding witchy stuff? Clara took a deep breath. It's just rue. My grandmother said it was good luck. John snorted. Luck? That's old weeds. So why does your mother always put it behind her ear when she goes to the fields? John turned red. It's just customary. Clara smiled. So it is. Old custom. And he continued walking, the rue branch now in his hand, clearly visible. John stared, scratching his head. Then, slowly, he went to Dona Marta's backyard. He picked up a little twig too. Just to see, he murmured. And so, without anyone noticing, the seeds began to sprout in unexpected places. In children's pockets, in the corners of houses, in stories that no one else told. Dona Lucia, seeing Clara arrive with the rue branch, smiled. You're already spreading it, right? Clara shrugged. I think plants like to be remembered. Dona Lucia took a handful of earth and let it drip between her fingers. Yeah. And so do we. João kept the twig in his shirt pocket. He smelled it strongly when he passed his hand near his nose. Wow, that stinks, I said softly. But he didn't throw it away. The other day, at school, Clara took a bag of wormwood seeds. He showed it to the class during recess. My grandmother says it wards off the evil eye, he explained, spreading some in the palm of his hand. Pedro, the messiest person in the room, took a seed and smelled it. It looks like dry grass. It's good woods, Clara laughed. If you plant it, it will even grow in your backyard. Pedro grimaced. My mother only likes pretty flowers. Then plant it in the kitchen pot, João suggested, surprising even himself. The two looked at him. John shrugged his shoulders. It's just an idea. At the end of the week, Pedro appeared with a small vase in his hand. Just look. Inside, a little wormwood seedling was already sprouting. My mother said it was to keep ants away, he said, proudly. But I told you it was for the evil eye. Clara smiled. And she believed it? No. But he let me plant it. John laughed. Then it's worth it. And so, the little plants started appearing. On the school wall, on the eaves of Dona Marta's house, even in the corner of Susie's grocery store. No one talked much about them, but everyone knew they were there. One afternoon, Dona Lucia called Clara and João to help in the garden. Today we are going to play with guaco, he said, pointing to a large tree full of green leaves. Guaco? João wrinkled his nose. I've never heard of it. It's for coughs, Dona Lucia explained. My mother made syrup out of it. Clara took a sheet of paper and crumpled it between her fingers. It smells like mint. It's really good, Dona Lucia confirmed. And it grows easily. All it takes is a small piece of twig in the water and a root soon grows. João looked at the guaco tree, then at the wormwood pot in the window. I think I want one of these at home. Dona Lucia laughed. Then grab a branch. But don't forget to water. And so, without rushing, the forgotten plants returned. Not like before, not everywhere, but in some corners, in some hands. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. João wrapped the guaco branch in damp paper and put it in his pocket. And that wormwood there? He asked, pointing to the vase in the window. Is it for something too? Dona Lucia wiped her hands on her apron. That's strong. My grandmother used it for stomach pain. But be careful, it's bitter and hurts. Clara grimaced. I don't even want to try it. No need, Dona Lucia laughed. Just smelling it gives you a taste. She turned the vase over to show the silver leaves. And it also serves to scare away fleas. In the past, people put it on mattresses. John scratched his head. So, if I plant guaco and wormwood, will I already have medicine for my cough and stomach? More or less, Dona Lucia said. But that's not all. You have to know the right time to harvest, how to prepare. It's not magic. Clara took a wormwood leaf and rubbed it between her fingers. What if we make a mistake? Then we learn, Dona Lucia replied, simply. My mother said that plants teach more than books. João looked at the yard, where other herbs grew half hidden. And what else is here? Dona Lucia smiled. Oh, there's something for everything. For fever, for wounds, even for sadness. For sadness? Clara's eyes widened. Yeah. Lemon balm, for example. Dona Lucia pointed to a flower bed with small leaves. A cup of tea soothes the heart. João was quiet for a moment. Then, quietly, my mother was sad after my father left. Dona Lucia didn't say anything. He just put his hand on his shoulder. Then take a little twig like that too. Clara took scissors and cut carefully. And how do we know which one is right? We listen, Dona Lucia said. Plants talk. You just need to pay attention. João looked at the guaco branch in his pocket, then at Dona Lucia's hands, marked by time. What if no one else wants to listen? Dona Lucia shrugged. Then we plant it anyway. Because someone, one day, will need it.